Do you ever want to dive deeper into the Bible, but you just don't know where to begin? Or struggle to feel like you even have the time? When you read the Bible, do you get frustrated because you know there's so much more in there? You just have no clue how to get it out? Or maybe you want to know the Bible better, and you're looking for any resource to help. Then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the Context and Color of the Bible podcast. We're sisters. I'm Veronica.
I'm Erica.
And we love to study the Bible, and we love to help others understand it better. When it comes to our own study of Scripture, we have found that in bringing back the context of Scripture, it adds to our understanding. It actually adds color to the black and white pages of the text. So, Erica.
Yes.
It's December 19th right now when this is releasing.
Merry Christmas.
Early. But we're going to take the next 2 weeks off.
We need a break.
Well, and we know
you need a break.
A week from now, Christmas will have just ended.
Right.
2 weeks from now, it will have just been New Year's Eve.
Yep.
That's a really busy time in people's lives.
Yes.
Including our own.
Yep.
And so we're just going to let you know right now, and we'll remind you at the end, we're not releasing any new podcasts for the next 2 weeks. We will come back January 9th.
Yep.
Continuing with Esther 6, which is kind of a hilarious place to leave this.
It is, because Esther 6 is a fun chapter.
Yes. So think of this as like your summer, your
Right,
season
your
as it's
cliffhanger.
summer break. The new season will start again in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
But we just, want to encourage you. First of all, enjoy the time off. Enjoy the time with your family. If you have time to listen to a podcast, catch up on what you've missed.
Yep.
Go back and listen to one you want to hear again. The one I keep thinking I need to listen to again is Lazarus and the Rich Man.
Oh, that was a good one.
Because there's some stuff we said in there and I was like, oh, I don't remember it. And I'm the one who taught it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So
Yeah.
go back and listen.
Yep.
Or have some fun, listen with somebody new, maybe your kids.
Oh, yeah. Jonah's a fun one to listen to with kids.
Jonah's fun with kids.
That would be a lot of fun.
Ruth is fascinating too.
Yeah. Be careful who you listen to.
I know.
A little PG-13 in
Yes.
there moment.
But so we just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will talk to you again on
In 2
January
weeks.
9th. But for now, we are going to jump back into
Esther 5.
Esther 5. We left off. We were watching we watched the doors close on Esther.
Yes.
She and her maids and her little entourage are fasting.
Yep.
She's got 3 days to plan and prepare to go to the king.
Mm-hmm.
Mordecai, that screen went off. He got everyone in Susa ready.
Mm-hmm.
And now Esther's doors. We're going beyond the doors into Esther's room.
Into Esther's room. And I don't know if we want to see the clock spinning on the wall or the night and day lights or just the calendars flipping.
Right.
But we're aware 3 days have gone by, Veronica. She's fasted and prayed, and now she's preparing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said she's putting on
She's
royalty.
putting on royalty.
She looks absolutely
She's becoming queen.
Stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just perfect. Her makeup, her jewelry, not a hair out of place. You can only imagine she smells as good as she looks. Like she is putting out all the stops.
This is the day to look your
Right.
best, do everything right.
Right. Yeah, I guess if you're going to die, you want to go out looking
Right.
good. So
If you have different crowns to wear,
Right.
you pick the most queenly crown.
Yes.
Anything that represents, hey, I'm queen,
Yes.
she's putting on.
Yes.
This is Esther going, okay, I am putting on
Yes.
this royalty. I need when everybody sees me,
I need them to be reminded.
there's no doubt, there's no
Yes.
question. Hey, that's the queen.
Right.
And
only she looks calm, but every once in a while you see the handshake.
you see micro expressions.
That's a
of
fun
fear.
micro expressions. You got that from
I did get that from the body language.
The body
the
language.
behavior panel
Yes.
that I watch.
So you can see there are signs that she's
Right.
not
if
as
you
calm.
were to glance at her, quick look, you go,
Yes.
wow, she's super confident and calm. But you
Yes.
see those little tiny things.
Yes, the handshaking.
Yeah. The camera's going to zoom in on something like
Yes.
white knuckles.
Yes.
The slight tremor.
Yes.
As she's putting on the eyeliner.
Yes.
From a distance, the camera angle, man,
Yes.
she's calm and collected.
Right.
And we see her getting ready. You almost see her practicing
Yes.
What she's going to say, the hand gestures,
Yes.
practicing her bowing. It's been over 30 days.
Yes.
Since she's seen the king.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe let's stretch a little bit, get those muscles, hamstrings.
Yes. And her
loose.
attendants are working with her, helping her, encouraging her. As they're brushing her hair, you'll do wonderful, my lady. You can do this, my lady. He's going to die when he sees you, my lady. Encouraging her. She's surrounded by good helpers, trustworthy people.
Right.
As opposed to Xerxes, Esther's got some good people around her. So they're encouraging her, supporting her, helping her get ready for this.
But as she starts to head down to the king's hall, there's that reminder, whether it's a picture of Vashti
right,
or just we're seeing in her head Vashti being removed from the throne.
Yes.
As she knows
there's the potential.
This could be it.
This could be it.
This could be my last day.
Yes.
Because the king has you can be executed.
Right. And he's a volatile king given to extreme. If you catch him at a bad moment, it could be off with your head before he even cares why you were there.
Yep.
And only tomorrow will he go, oh, shoot.
Right.
I didn't
kind
mean
of liked
that.
her.
Yeah. So it's not a for sure thing that he's going to be okay with her coming. And she looks calm, but you can feel the tension.
It's like the sound goes and all you hear is her heartbeat.
Yes.
That's everything. She goes to those doors.
So the doors swing open, and inside had been laughing and music, and all of a sudden everybody stops and turns to look as she takes her step on the carpet, and everybody just stands there silently, shocked that she has come uninvited before the king. And you kind of see those whispers as people are like, she's gonna die. Do you see she looks really good, but she's gonna die. And just step, step, step. And Xerxes is just sitting on the throne watching her step. And the soldiers behind him with the axe just waiting.
It's like
you
got Esther's view of just there's the king and there's the guy with the axe.
Yes, and you focus in on the axe, and then you look at the king, and then you go back to the axe, and then you look at the king. And she finally makes that long walk to the throne, and she bows.
And then we have a commercial break. I thought if it was my movie, I'd have a commercial break right there.
Although I hope movies don't have commercial breaks, like a TV show.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Yes.
But so the king, you focus in on the king's face, waiting, because all it takes is a small expression from the king, and the axe guy knows.
And he could look at this as being dishonoring. Like, he already banished a wife for dishonoring him. He could sit there and say, Esther, you've dishonored me by coming into my presence.
Right.
You're done.
Yep. I didn't call you.
Right.
Who do you think you are?
Yes.
And yet we see as the smile just begins to come to his face, and it just gets bigger.
Yes.
And he reaches out his scepter and touches Esther.
And she puts up her head and touches it with the tip of her hand.
And they smile. They look at each other and they just...
and the court sighs.
Yes, everyone's had this collective... Yes.
Okay, she made it through step 1. Now she's got step 2.
In the king instantly, it's just like... a wife who comes to me without being called. Vashti was called and never came, and now I have a wife who comes without even being called.
Right.
What a great reversal.
Right, and she looks amazing.
She's gorgeous, which is why I married her.
Right. And he responds like a good, generous king. What do you want? Up to half my kingdom. Because obviously he does realize for her to come looking like this, interrupting him, it's a big deal.
She's coming as queen for a reason.
Yes, there's something she needs or
You didn't
wants.
just want to come visit me for the night.
Right.
You want to ask something.
Right.
You're coming as queen to the king.
Right.
With an appeal.
So, okay, Esther, but you've already pleased me. What do you want? Up to half my kingdom, which is just an idiom.
Right.
Herod uses it in the Gospels. It's not a for sure, you get half my kingdom. It's just a way of saying, I'll be generous. What would you like? And Esther's response, she has been crafting this.
Right.
She's very deferential, very careful, very proper and respectful. Like, in case you thought I wasn't honoring you, king, she gives him full-blown honor. You're the king.
Strokes his ego.
Yes.
She plays to the status, because status and honor
matters.
is huge in this book. If you haven't figured that out, and for Xerxes to now have a wife who elevates him even more.
In front of everybody. Oh, this feels good. And her request is very simple. I have a banquet. You love to party. Well, I've prepared a feast in your honor. And I want you to come to it. You know, in chapter 1, Xerxes had to throw his own feast to honor himself. Here, his queen wants to honor him with a feast. What could be better? And oh yeah, you have to invite your good buddy Haman.
Right. You know, that guy sitting right next to you.
Right. That guy over there. Him. He gets to come.
And, you know, if it pleases the king, you know, she's very shrewd. She's not being deceptive.
No.
But she's playing to what's going to stroke his ego.
Yeah. What's that? You get more flies with honey than with vinegar. Is that the phrase?
Something like that. You know, and so the king, okay, Haman, let's go.
Yeah, why not go to a feast?
Sure.
Shoot.
So we can do what Esther asks. And so they go to this banquet that Esther has prepared.
So the king and Haman do what Esther wants. Like, all of a sudden, we're starting to get this
reversal.
Subtle shift in command structure. Like, Esther all of a sudden just called a shot. And they both jumped.
It's a reversal from chapter 1 where the king calls the queen to come to a banquet. Now the queen is calling the king to come to a banquet. And so we have the king and Haman.
Right. There's this lavish spread, wine. There's laughing and joking. And Esther's treating them both with the utmost respect. But you just, every once in a while, you know, you see her when she hands
You get
Haman
another
a
micro
cup.
expression
Right,
of anger.
like her knuckles are white. And her eyes, when she looks at Haman, you know, you see the smile on her face, but you can just, there's
a flash.
Yeah, a flash of anger in her eyes as she talks to him and deals with him, but he's too drunk and full of himself to really care.
Right. And so the king again asks Esther, what do you want? Even half my kingdom, it will be granted.
And she's a shrewd, clever woman. And she repeats the king's comments back.
She uses his exact wording.
Right. My petition, my request is that you come tomorrow to another banquet, my lord, with Haman, and there I will tell you. You know, so she phrases it in such a way that it sounds like the king wants another banquet. Right. So like she's doing what the king wants.
Right. Almost like he's eating and drinking. This is great. We should do this again.
Yes.
You know, man, you made my favorites and my favorite music's playing. I mean, whatever she's doing, it's almost like the king is like, wow, we should do this more often. Esther, why have we not been together lately?
Yes. And she's like, great, tomorrow, king. We can do another one tomorrow.
Just like this.
Just like this. And please bring Haman again tomorrow. You know, and she's got that little smile and smirk on her face.
Right. And just the sweet, flattering. Right. I mean, she's just stroking
laughing
his ego.
At his jokes. And Haman just thinks he's on top of the world. And then he leaves the banquet and he's like floating on cloud 9.
Like, as we watch, you know, the king and Esther probably stay in the banquet, keep laughing and drinking. And Haman's just like, this is the best. And he's going to start heading home and that camera's following him. Right. And you can just tell
from the music is just happy and the sun is shining and the birds are singing and Haman's like walking on air. He is the best. This is the biggest and most wonderful moment of his life.
And then it gets to the king's gate.
And he sees
Mordecai
sitting there.
Not even standing.
Just sitting.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it's like the clouds roll in.
The birds die.
And like his mustache droops.
It's like his balloon popped.
Yes, he's got that vein on his forehead that starts to pop.
It just becomes absolute, complete reversal of feelings in a way.
Yes.
You go from this is the best ever to life can't get any worse.
Right.
And that depression, that anger is just mixed and all you can see is Mordecai. And just like the edges of the screen get dark and you just know it's anger and evil and
and he stalks home and he's furious and he gathers around him his wife and his friends because he needs his entourage to stroke his bruised ego. And I have 10 kids and I'm wealthy and I have all this land and you all love me and everybody loves me but Mordecai. And it's like, okay, first of all, what did you say? He has to tell his wife.
He has to tell his wife how many kids he has.
Really?
Really? There's a little bit of humor in this of
he's telling them what they already know.
Right. You're telling your wife how many kids. Pretty sure she was there.
Right. She should know better than anybody.
Right. And all your friends probably know about how much wealth you have because of how you act. So as we're getting into these darker moments, there's glimpses of just a lightheartedness. Because again, ultimately, this story is going to be replayed year after year.
Right.
On the scene of Purim. And you want what an idiot. You want the buffoon and the villain of, really?
You want him to look like an idiot at some point. You want to dislike him.
You almost want him to go, and these are my 10 sons. Let me introduce them to their mother.
Yes.
And her just kind of going,
again.
Yes.
Nice to meet you again.
No, I've met you.
Yes. Yeah, but the crazy thing is, Veronica, if you had a scale and you put all of Haman's wealth, his 10 sons, which is an amazing amount of sons, like that's a wealth in and of itself.
That's a nice complete number.
Yes, his honor, his prestige. The guy's got to have land, servants. Like when he went home, it's a huge mansion, huge lands, like servants, white gloved servants waiting at the door. Like he has got it all. And this entourage of yes men surrounding him. And you put all that on one side of the scale. And then on the other side, you put Mordecai. In Haman's world, Mordecai outweighs all of that.
Right.
Like it's insane.
Right. It's so ridiculous childish. How much Mordecai's.
How much power Haman gives to Mordecai.
Again, it's status. Haman should have this great status. He alone was invited to a dinner with the king and the queen. He says that. I alone, only I.
Right.
And she invited me and the king.
Right.
To another one tomorrow.
But it's not enough because one person is enough to bruise his ego so bad. That he can't handle it. None of it matters. Like that, the
power. One of my commentaries says the power and entitlement fail to satisfy because he wanted just one more thing.
Yes, always. People like Haman need one more thing. Always one more thing. They're never satisfied.
And so, what's so great here is another reversal. Here we had in chapter 1, the wives were commanded to respect their husbands.
Right.
And so who's advising Haman now?
Right. Who's going, Haman,
Who comes up with the plan?
It's okay,
of how to flip the scales eventually.
Right.
His wife. You know, who's he running to? Who's he got to be told what to do?
Right.
His wife tells him. And so it's almost as if she knows, okay.
Right.
I know how to speak your language. You're over the top. You're just excessive.
Right.
In everything you do.
Right.
So not only are you going to build a gallows, which is essentially a stake. You know, it's not, I think sometimes with a gallows, we think.
Oh, the Old West
gallows.
The
Old West gallows. This would be more like impaling.
Right. It's after the person's dead. It's the ultimate in dishonor because the person's died, but instead of being buried, they are left to rot. On a stake for the world to see.
And so not only is it a stake, but we're going to build a stake. All the king's nobles and all the king's men and all the king's provinces can see.
Right.
Because it's how tall?
75 feet high. 7 stories high.
And what did you say about the palace or the temple?
In archaeology, they believe that the palace in Susa was like 40 to 50 feet high. And the temples would have been around that height as well. So Haman's gallows was higher than the king's palace. because
which is
Haman's
slightly excessive.
You know, because Haman's dishonor is higher than the king's honor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's essentially what's being said here.
Mm-hmm.
Haman's dishonor is just worth more
Mm-hmm.
than the king's.
So
Oh my word.
his wife is like, okay, build this huge gallows, hang Mordecai on it, and then go to the dinner and you'll be fine.
Which, okay, first, like there's so many things about this, Veronica, but okay, first of all, the point of the gallows is to dishonor the person.
Right?
But 75 feet up, okay, first of all, how do you get the body up there?
Right.
Second, can you even see whose
7
body
stories
it
up.
is? So everybody would be like, yeah, there's something up there.
Somebody.
But I'm not really sure who
Is it
that
a
is.
man? Is it a child?
Right. Like, it's ridiculous. It's laughable. It is so utterly ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And second, if Haman had waited in 11 months, Mordecai would be put to death anyways.
Right.
Because of the decree. Mordecai's already dead.
Right.
He's a dead man.
He's a walking dead man.
He's a walking dead man. But you can't wait
right.
11 months. It has to be now.
Right.
Because that's just the way it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And I love how this suggestion delighted Mordecai.
No, Haman.
Oh, yeah, Haman. Sorry. This suggestion delighted Haman.
Right.
And he goes and has it built.
Right.
But you still need a few things. You need the king's approval.
Right.
You can't just, if you're going to build a gallows that's taller than the king's palace,
Right.
you might want to let him know what's going on.
Right.
Because he's going to notice it. People are going to be talking about it.
And you're going to take a king's servant.
Uh-huh.
Mordecai works at the palace.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're going to take one of his servants and kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Haman, you need to ask.
Mm-hmm. And so,
first.
Erica, you were ending this when we were running through it before we started recording. You have us, we're back to the split screen. You have Esther in the palace.
Right.
Preparing for tomorrow's banquet.
Right. Because both Haman and Esther, at the end of chapter 5, both Haman and Esther, Veronica, want an audience with the king.
Mm-hmm.
But neither is aware of the other one's purpose or plan. So that really adds to the tension. Who's going to get to the king first? Because we know, Esther's going to plead, save my people. Haman's going to ask, can we kill the Mordecai, the Jewish man?
Mm-hmm.
And whoever gets to the king first, he's going to say yes.
Right.
Because he's never say no Xerxes. So you've got this tension. Who's going to get there first? So on the one side, you see Esther, and she's adding more makeup. She's putting together another feast for the king.
She's taste testing the food and
making sure everything is exactly the way it needs to be. And on the other hand, you have, Haman working with carpenters, and he's ordering, okay, this needs to be done here. No, he's micromanaging every little thing because the gallows has to be just perfect for Mordecai. So you see the cooking, the carpenters, Esther sitting calmly, Haman pacing back and forth, trying to figure out what's the exact wording I can use to make sure Xerxes says yes. How can I get Mordecai killed without mentioning Mordecai's name to the king? And how can I make sure that it's 75 feet high is going to be okay with the king? And so you see this end,
this tension.
The chapter ends with both of them preparing for an audience with
almost
the king.
like the clock's ticking down.
Yes.
And they're both going to end at the same point, and it's who gets to the door first.
Who gets there first?
And I think you almost shot with the king going to bed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's nighttime.
Yes.
It's the end of the day. We see the king go to bed, and the door's shut. And Esther and Haman still
prepping and preparing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're going to leave you with that for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Who gets there first? No reading ahead.
No.
Just kidding.
Yes. But, don't forget, we have been encouraging you to read the entire story.
Yes. Yep.
Because hopefully as you're seeing more reversals.
Yep.
You're feeling this tension and understanding it a little better.
Yep.
So as over the next 2 weeks, as you celebrate the holidays, as you take a break and rest, read this story. Stop and remember what a great storyteller God is.
Yes.
And how he uses stories to teach us things. As you sit and you read the Christmas story with your kids.
Yep.
Why do we tell stories? Because there's so much in there.
Yep.
There's so much depth that we can add as you go deeper into the story. A good story, a good movie, it's fun to watch them over and over again.
Well, and it gets past that little guard in your brain. I forget what it's called, but it goes to a part of your brain that goes deep. Stories we let in faster than just a lecture or facts. Stories stick with you. They change and shape you, how you see the world.
So enjoy these 2 next weeks off. We'll say it again. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes.
We will be back on January 9th to pick up with the king.
Who gets to the king first?
Who gets there first? And because truthfully, if you didn't know the end of the story, you kind of think Esther's got to get there first. For everything to work perfectly,
yeah, that's true.
Esther has to be the one to get there first.
So what happens when it's not Esther?
Right. I mean, even that, what a fun movie this is becoming.
And chapter 6 is considered one of the funniest chapters.
That's my favorite
Scripture.
chapter of the whole story of Esther.
It's considered one of the best in the scriptures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because of how it all plays out?
Yep.
So, thanks for joining us. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.